It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, November the 27th. The weekend is behind us. Let's get back to normal. Oh, wait. No, there's a whole month of nonsense still to go. Good morning. Welcome back from the long holiday weekend. Are we all okay? I mean, did we do it right or did we do it right? Zepp, are we in one piece? No word from Brian Zepp.
He's being glued together.
He is. They're still. We've got.
Wait a minute. Okay.
There he comes. Here he comes. We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
It was perfect. Perfect Thanksgiving. 10 out of 10. Nailed it on every level.
Wow, that's very nice to hear. Tony, everything good with the Lee family?
Yeah, very nice. Very pleasant. Very enjoyable.
Candace?
Yeah, it's really easy to get used to not working.
Well, that's very true. That's very true. I'm glad you guys all had a great weekend. I ruined Thanksgiving for the Gorman family. Wow. Just letting everyone know right now.
What the hell? What happened?
Perfectly wonderful day. Okay, first things first. Back in Nashville for the long weekend at the homestead. The kids are home from college. We all go back to Nashville. We go down south for Thanksgiving. First things first. Really weird. It's like the last 11 months didn't happen. We all just get back into the house down in Tennessee, and even Chauncey just went about his normal business. And the cat, I was like, wait, don't I live in Minnesota now? What's happening? So I was a little off. I'll be honest. I'm not making this up. I felt weird the whole time there. I was like, what's happening? Mm-hmm. I mean, it was like a Twilight Zone episode. Like, wait. This is really strange, but that being what it is, get through that. Small get together, just the four of us with my nephew and his girlfriend, so 6 people for dinner. Really nice time. Everything's good. I'm eating, and it's funny. We talked last week. How do you maximize the amount of food you can ingest? I ate a lot. I'll just start with that. I ate a whole lot sitting there at the table. A lot of good conversation. The longer it goes, the more I'm like, I'll just get one more bite of potatoes with gravy. One more bite of the dressing. One more bite of, and then all of a sudden, I had that thing happen where it all started to expand in my stomach, and I spent 4, maybe 5 hours, I kid you not, so stuffed and so disgusted with myself that I took it out on my wife and my kids and the pets and my nephew and his girlfriend. I was in the worst mood, and I couldn't shake it, and I wasn't running shtick. I was angry and just in a terrible mood. And then I'm like, I'll clean the kitchen. You guys did all the work. Let me do the dishes. And then what am I doing as I'm cleaning the kitchen? I'm literally eating what's on the plates before I clean the plates. I just had that. I had that perfect amount of just enough wine and way too much food to continue to eat. And I spent the entire night of Thanksgiving night apologizing for ruining everyone's holiday. So happy Thanksgiving, Steve.
Oh, wow. I feel like you've ruined our Thanksgiving recap.
Thanks for coming back.
Jeez.
I'm done. There. I've moved past it. That's what I need now is a little positivity. So no Zepp fireworks, no family. The family Zepp all still loving each other. That's what you're telling me.
Not that well. The key is microdosing the family get together. It was just
sure.
Sydney and I. And Sydney and I and her boyfriend Dylan, and she made a 15-pound bird and nailed it, her first Thanksgiving bird, and everything was, it was leftover. The next day when you get up and you have all 3 meals and it's still Thanksgiving leftovers, and then you do it again the next day.
Sure.
That's a good Thanksgiving. So, and I think we were all properly overserved about the same amount. We passed out 5 minutes into that Thanksgiving movie we decided to watch.
Yeah.
There was good times had by all, good drink, good
That's
food.
really nice. And by the way, she got the bird right first time out of the gate?
Got the bird right. She did the whole thing. She was rubbing stuff on it like 48 hours out, doing all sorts of crazy things. And, just killed. I mean, she was like, I suppose this is a thing. I did not know this in preparation of a bird, where you take a huge syringe filled with melted butter and you just stab it into the bird and inject it with butter.
Whoa.
I mean, the butter was as big as the bird. I took a picture of the butter. It was like 8 pounds of butter or something like that. It was crazy. I mean, you could have sculpted just a turkey out of the butter. And it all went into the bird, and it was, she nailed it.
Who knew? Candace, how was the gig?
Oh, it was so fun. Yeah, thanks for everyone who came out the night before Thanksgiving. I mean, it's like that's pretty cool that people did that. So.
If there's a night that calls for Sabbath, it's the night before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was really, really fun.
That's great. I love hearing that. Tony, everybody, the kids happy? You guys all get along fine? No family feuds or anything?
Everything was cool. It was a big event. There was like, I don't know, 25, 30 of us, and tons of chow. There was played some game called Smartass. Played like a trivia game afterwards, and
nice.
There was this little Brutus, the tiny Maltese who makes Gigi look like a Greek god, threw up and bit the host.
Oh, beautiful! Yeah.
Oh boy. Wow. Well, at least,
fab.
but that's better than one of the people biting a host.
No, it was cool. Had just a fabulous time.
That's really nice. And now we're just on a downhill run. From now to the end of the year, it's just obligations, parties, cocktails. It's just going to be sheer lunacy as per usual for the month of December. And I'm here for it. I'll be honest. I have worked through most of my pain and feelings of inadequacy. Did I mention I felt like I'd swallowed one of those miniature Heineken kegs? You know what I mean? Like, I was looking in the mirror and I was like, this shirt actually fit 3 hours ago, and now it's tight. Like, my body truly changed shape. By the way, I'm 58 years old, and I'm going, how did this happen? We were laughing about it on air last week, and then all of a sudden I'm here. I was just it was humiliating, and nothing about it was positive. It's just sharing, misery, true misery.
I think you're starting out at the bottom of the holiday season here and nowhere to go but up by the time you hit Christmas, man. First of all, you're going to love your big roly-poly Minnesota Santa gut. You're going to learn to, I mean, this is the hibernation season. We pack it on, man.
Well, I'm Googling like 3 straight days, green juice diet, green juice cleanse, cayenne and lemon juice and water can you live on that for a month? It's just been awful.
Yeah. I know. I ate so much over the 4 days and drank, of course, the good beer, not the light beer, but the stuff that tastes great.
Beer.
Get you buzzed super fast. Yeah, exactly. With 1,000 calories per beer.
Yeah,
or
I'm
more.
Like, I thought I was being smart. I'm like, I'm just going to sip some wine today, and no, it just really. It's funny. If I'd been drinking beer on Thanksgiving, I would have been far more in my comfort zone. I would have felt things coming. I could have looked around the pass at the feelings of I need to stop eating now. But the wine I don't know. It just turned it on its head, and I just couldn't stop. This is awful.
Wine is like that, right? It gets the best of you because it pairs with the moment and the food, and you're drinking it. It is like it's not like when I'm drinking whiskey, I'm very aware of what I'm doing.
Sure.
I'm drinking whiskey. You got to be careful. You never mistake a drink of whiskey for something else. But I forget I'm drinking when I'm drinking wine around Thanksgiving. Yeah. And there were 3 of us. We polished off 3 bottles of wine.
Not only that, don't you feel smart? Don't you feel like suddenly you have insight into crap you shouldn't be talking about? I turned into my dad around the table, by the way. Seriously. I'm like, well, let me tell you something. We can talk about what's going on right now, but you've got to go back 50 years when the U.S. intervened for the first time. And I'm like, and I can see the glaze over the eyes of my family looking at me like, what are you talking about? And then I'm trying to lighten the mood. Oh, it was awful. Just made an ass of myself.
Wow.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I've been on for the
What's that?
You get that chance, though, for the great apologies from everyone. When you give it, and they can give you the, we love you, Steve.
It was it was just more like, are you done? Can we just move on? Like, we don't even want to look back. Don't apologize. We're all just moving forward. That was the vibe I got for the next 48 hours. Yeah, the next day, by the way, over to a friend's house for a big fire pit, Friday afternoon hang, bunch of friends, and then that feeling again of, people are like, oh, my God, how's Minneapolis? And it's like this 11-month that it felt like it was just a blink of an eye because all of a sudden we're back with all of our old friends. And then I'm trying to explain life in Minneapolis and how cool it is. And I'm telling people about the show and I'm talking about this. And then every now and again, either my wife or one of my kids would interject with, did you talk about yesterday yet, Dad? Did you mention that you ruined everyone's Thanksgiving? It was great.
Wow.
Just brilliant. Just crushing me left and right.
You've
But
got
you know what?
Christmas to redeem yourself.
I do that, man. I got a lot of work to do. I'm telling you, man. I was the Thanksgiving Grinch. I'd never been that guy before.
I feel like
don't plan to go back that way.
We had a big, successful brouhaha with Tony and his clan, the perfect meal with mine. Candace partied for us, which comes with Drinksgiving and the Thanksgiving holiday, and then you mucked it all up. We covered every base this Thanksgiving, didn't we? All the scenarios.
Yeah.
I drunkenly Facebook messaged every girl I've ever dated. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that's a whole nother segment, man. Speaking of, God, we've been on the air for 13 minutes now and not one mention of Travis Kelce or Taylor Swift. Well, thankfully we have Mike Evans' Hollywood Report here at 6:30. We'll find out what's going on with those crazy kids. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Monday, November the 27th. A little later on the show, 8 o'clock, in fact, we are going to be joined by a man from The Young and the Restless. You may be familiar with him, Michael Damian, the guy who has played Danny Romalotti for 40 years on The Young and the Restless. Why? Well, he's got a new Christmas album out, and let's not kid ourselves. I'm a Young and a Restless guy. I've spent a lot of time in Genoa City with these people, and I'm very excited to chat with Michael Damian. I made fun of soap operas my whole life, and then I started watching one and then got addicted. I was hooked. What am I going to say?
I've been watching it too lately. I don't know, I didn't know about him and how he's been on it for so long, but they did a flashback episode last week.
Oh, I wish I'd seen it.
The timing is right for me. I get home and I have my lunch and it's on.
Oh, it's great.
But yeah, I did not know that he's been on the show for so long.
Oh, dude, what are you kidding?
I did not know. I had no idea.
The Danny and Cricket years, the early '80s on the Y and the R. Come on, man, that was life at its finest. That was life and how to live it, as far as I knew. So that's exciting. At 9 o'clock, Robert Smith, Vikings icon, will join us, and we will be discussing tonight's Monday night football game. Josh Dobbs and the Vikings want to get that train turned back around with a division game against the Chicago Bears, who have been a grease fire, but as of late look like they actually know how to play football. Should be a better game than most people would have expected a few weeks ago. Robert Smith, I may or may not mention the Michigan-Ohio State game. We're just, it remains to be seen. Anywho, before we get into all that, it's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Michael, are you with us, brother? Good morning.
Everybody had a good Thanksgiving holiday, I hope.
3 out of 4 KQ Morning Show folks had a great holiday, and one of us made an ass of himself, and that's just, something I have to learn from. How was your Thanksgiving, Mike?
It was good. Spent some time on the East Coast, and all the family met at one place in Washington, D.C. There were like 18 of us. Yeah,
nice.
It was good. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
This report brought to you by Marcus Theaters, and with the holidays gone, now's the time to really get to the theaters. And Tuesday, again, our special, always $6 Tuesday, get to Marcus Theaters tomorrow. Now, Thanksgiving dinner nugget. No turkey for you. Here are some celebrities who are vegetarians and did not get to enjoy the traditional turkey dinner. Harry Styles, Paul McCartney, Ariana Grande, Natalie Portman, Russell Brand, and Carrie Underwood.
Well, come on now.
No turkey for them.
What do you think that is? Is that tofurkey? You think they're going with that?
How disgusting. I think I'd go to McDonald's instead. Our final Thanksgiving nugget, I'd be anxious to get your take on this. So at the Macy's parade, they rolled out 77-year-old Cher, who did a horrible lip-syncing job and looked like sort of a stiff mannequin, but she's 77. Then a few hours later, 77-year-old Dolly Parton, all dressed up in a real skimpy, the traditional Dallas Cowboy cheerleader uniform.
Watch it. There's no Dolly snark on this show accepted.
Performed at the Cowboy game, and she looked unbelievably great.
That's right.
77 years. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm looking at her going, she's unbelievable. 77 years old.
Did you see her sister's tweet about it over the weekend?
I did
Stella
not.
Parton?
No, what'd she say?
I can tell. Stella is Dolly's younger sister, a songwriter in her own right, and she tweeted this. I personally thought my big sister Dolly was cute as hell in her Dallas Cowboys cheerleading costume at the halftime show. To those of you who think being critical of a 77-year-old kicking up her heels, I say, but she spelled it out, go F yourself. Shame on you, not her.
Oh, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It was as good as the game, and I had money on the game.
Of course.
There you go. Love Nugget. Is it true Jamie Lynn Spears is getting a little sick and tired of her sister Brittany taking shots at her? And Jamie is thinking about writing a tell-all book about Brittany.
Oh, my gosh. That will sell 11 copies.
Yeah. Movie news. Despite no real stars, Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds, and Snakes dominated the holiday box office. Meanwhile, Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix and other stars, which was expecting to do $100 million domestic, box office did only $36 million box office.
Wow.
And the Disney movie Wish. Well, the wish didn't come true, homie. Expected to do $70 million, did only $31 million. So, Steve, I think this is showing, it's proving. It proves that big stars no longer guarantee big box office.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking people to get off the couch over a holiday weekend and go sit in a room full of strangers. Good luck to you. It's 2023.
Yeah. And just because there's a big name star in the movie, that's not going to make any difference.
No, not at all.
Opening up Friday, Renaissance, a movie, a film by Beyonce. I haven't seen it, but I'm hearing is better than Taylor Swift's movie. Beyonce's film, they say, is brilliant and groundbreaking. I can't wait to see it. It opens up on Friday at Marcus Theaters.
Wow, I wonder if Taylor will go to the big premiere the way Beyonce turned up for hers.
I know. You know the truth about that.
Yeah.
Odds and ends real quick. Meghan Markle has been popping off all weekend long saying the royal family are a bunch of racists. Somebody told Meghan, just shut up. You know, and she's also going on this rant and rave against Harry's dad, King Charles, for taking the keys of Frogmore Cottage away from them, where Harry and Meghan would stay when they were in England. Well, you know, the truth be told, Frogmore Cottage is paid for by the taxpayers of England, exclusively just for the royal family. And when Harry denounced any involvement of the royal family, he gave up all the rights to all the royal family stuff.
Yeah, of course.
I'm
no fan of the Royals, but why don't you bitch about the height of the redwoods while you're at it? I mean,
exactly.
Saying that they're greedy and you know they're racist and they're not up with the times. Everything she says about the royal family, it's kind of like going, yeah. And guess what? Water is quenching my thirst. That's how that works. I mean, what? Anyway, I got no time for her.
It's just let's move on. I'd be happy if they would just move to a desert island or something. Thanksgiving was great. It's time for Christmas. Can't wait. Great to be back with you guys. Talk to you tomorrow morning. See ya.
Always a pleasure, Mike Evans. There's a new show, by the way. Why he slammed that phone? That's like old school phone right there. Don't you miss being able to slam the phone down?
Sometimes, yeah.
Man. I had one moment in life on tour in a rock band in a hotel where I did some destruction. It wasn't a TV out the window. It wasn't shattering a mirror in the bathroom. But I destroyed the hotel room phone at the Plaza Hotel in New York City once, and it felt pretty darn good doing it. Just slammed the receiver into the cradle like 17 times in a row. It was literally the only time in my life I've ever broken something out of anger.
Was it Thanksgiving?
It was not Thanksgiving. Okay. It was it wasn't Thanksgiving. What was it? It was called that's right, rosemary. That's what it was.
That sounds good with some turkey, little rosemary.
I don't even remember what she was in my grill about on that phone, but it was I just had enough. And then, of course, I had to go, to the across the room and pick up the other phone and call back and go, I'm sorry, I slammed the phone down. And then I had to call the front desk, or actually I called my tour manager, and I was like, yeah, there's going to be a busted phone on the bill. That's on me. My bad. Just never quite
like
got
this when I got to the room.
Yeah, I never got into the swing of breaking crap. I probably should have. Looking back, it might have helped. Might have blown off a little of that tension, pressure I felt like I was under so much. There's a show on Hulu called Murder at the End of the World. That's what it's called. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
True crime situation. It's not a true crime story. It's a drama. It's a miniseries about a true crime person, if you will. And it's gotten all these rave reviews, and my wife and I put it on over the weekend. And it's essentially a Agatha Christie novel updated with, 2023. So a whole bunch of people go away, and then they start dropping off one after the other. And the young heroine has to figure out who's killing all these people, but she has like artificial intelligence helping her. It's like if Hercule Poirot had this, he would have figured out, Death on the Nile in like 7 minutes. You know what I mean? It was one of these. It's a little strange. Yeah, it's like everybody that's saying, "Oh man, it's amazing." I'm like, have you guys never heard of Agatha Christie? Seriously, this is like every one of her stories. This is crazy. Anyway, it's okay so far. Not sure. Jury's still out overall, but I like seeing people dust off the old shtick and put a modern spin on it. But as long as we're talking about modern spins and dusting off old shtick, how about a sports and music history lesson? I got some sports history for you. On this day in 1971, college football, very famous play, or infamous, called the Florida Flop or the Gator Flop, depending on who you're talking to. I think it's kind of funny. The Florida Gators were playing a game. It was the final game of the season. There was 2 minutes on the clock. They're destroying the Miami Hurricanes 45-8. The Florida's quarterback needed 14 yards to pass Jim Plunkett for most yards thrown in college football history. But Miami had the ball in the red zone, and it didn't look like the Florida Gators were going to get the ball back to give their quarterback a chance to break the record. So what did the Florida Gators do? They all fell on the defense for the Gators. At the snap of a ball, fell on the ground as though they'd all been hit with a tranquilizer dart. Miami's quarterback just walked into the end zone untouched. But then they, of course, had to kick the ball back off to Florida, who then got a chance for their quarterback to break the record. And he did exactly that. Miami's coach was out of his mind and was trying to fight Florida's coach after the game, saying, such poor sportsmanship, and how dare you do that just to break a personal record. My man was not built for the future. If a team did that right now, like Gen Z would be like, yeah, what's the problem? Good for you. Congratulations. I kind of get it, though. I dig it. Like, that's just not how that's supposed to go.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
The first holiday weekend is behind us. The rest all still to go. We're on a downhill run to 2024. It's very nice to be with you. The Vikings have a big game tonight with the Chicago Bears. That's going to be a hell of a Monday night for the Twin Cities. I'm very excited about that. 1 hour from now, Michael Damian is calling this show. You may know him as Danny Romalotti from The Young and the Restless. Oh, come on. What are you kidding? You may not. But the man, he's a pop star on TV. He's a pop star in real life. He's got a new Christmas album out, a Broadway star. Oh, he's done it all. And all with that very soft speaking voice. I'm looking forward to talking with the guy. At 9 o'clock, normally on Mondays, we have Robert Smith, Vikings icon, with us. However, some travel plans have been altered for Robert. We're not going to talk to him till tomorrow. That's okay. We'll recap tonight's game as opposed to preview tonight's game. But it's always good to speak with him whenever we get the chance. That just means I have to wait one more day to tell him how awesome it feels to be a fan of the cheating Wolverines.
Thought he was ducking you.
Stealing signs and cheating, but who cares? We beat OSU for the third year in a row. I say we. When Michigan loses, I'm like, I'm renouncing them. And when they beat Ohio State 3 years in a row, I'm like, go blue. That's the good thing. See, I didn't go to school there, so it's okay. A lifelong fan for no real good reason. Just because I was born there, just because my older brothers made me a Michigan fan, doesn't mean I still have to cheer for them. What can I say? These things die hard. Yeah. These habits die hard. I tell you something else that dies hard apparently is crazy people getting on planes. I feel like a broken record. We could do this story every day, at least once a week. We have a new travel nightmare to share with you, and at this point, I feel like we'd all be remiss if we didn't remind you that if you're traveling anywhere ever, just watch your back because the crazies love to fly too. In fact, sometimes I think there's more of them than there are of us. Latest one from the week. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? A Frontier Airlines flight from somewhere in Florida going to Philadelphia. And of course, I see that and I'm like, well, clearly she's from Philly. Yeah. A woman decided mid-flight, you know what? I got to go to the bathroom, and there's just no way to keep this from happening. Flight attendants apparently at the time said that you can't go. You cannot use the lavatory. Maybe there was some turbulence. Maybe the pilot had the fasten your seatbelt sign on. For whatever reason, she was no longer able or allowed to get up and walk the aisle and, use the facilities. So she decided, well, then I'll just go in the aisle. We've got audio, and it's as good as you might imagine.
Sorry, everybody. Are you serious? Okay, let me open that. I gotta go pee. We had
I like the two little kids sitting right there. I mean, her rear end's almost in their face. There's a scar. Always avoid the 3 F's when flying. I say Philadelphia, Florida, and Frontier Airlines. Avoid those 3. And that was a combination of all 3. That was the perfect storm right there.
There's 4 F's actually. There's Frontier. There's F in Philadelphia. You forgot that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, when she says, sorry, everybody, that's when she drops her trow and squats in the middle of an aisle of a plane.
Are you serious? Okay, let me open that.
Oh, man.
I gotta go pee.
Yeah.
Look, I got to go pee.
I love the
It was
apology.
so serious, she threatened someone's life. Who wouldn't let her pee. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's called a rapid escalation is what that's called. Which by the way, it's another day, another bit of evidence for Exhibit A over here, which is my idea for a new airline, which is just called Sit Down and Shut Up Air. It's like every seat it comes with a straitjacket. You're not allowed to move. Straitjacket and one of those weird S&M balls that they shove in your mouth.
Yeah,
and then a set of headphones and music, and you're just going to sit there. And if you got to pee, you're going to pee yourself. But nobody gets out of their chair once that door shuts. There's no carry-ons. That's my kind of airline. Just get where you're going.
Yep, that's it. I mean, it's not complicated. Go into your own little world, your own little private space there. Stay there until the plane lands. Then you can get off and go to your destination and take it out on your family or your coworkers, wherever you're headed. But leave the rest of those poor strangers stuck in that aluminum tube with you alone.
Can I say one thing here off the cuff?
Yeah.
I just saw last week MSP Airport in one of those business polls or things you always see from I don't know, Forbes or Johnny's Travel Magazine, whoever. Somebody in a very large survey, it was the second best airport in America for yet again. It always wins these awards. And I would just like to say, yeah, damn straight it is. Never had a problem there. Never feels rushed or cramped or crowded. If you want to see an absolute grease fire, go to the Nashville, Tennessee airport as soon as possible.
Yeah.
My God, in Nashville for the holiday weekend, both kids flew in. I had 2 trips to the airport, and both of them were beyond nightmarish. They're doing a lot of construction now, and so they've got departing flights or one exit off the highway, arriving flights or another, and both are backed up. They've moved the cell phone lot to miles and miles away for this construction. I don't even know what they're trying to do, but all I can say is this. If you're trying to get to the airport and if you've got to get on a plane, people are getting there. They're leaving 3 hours ahead of domestic flights. And the line from I-40 goes back a mile, bumper to bumper, barely moving. And every morning, people are posting photos of travelers with suitcases walking on the highway. walking up the shoulder to get in because they've screwed up the ingress and egress so dramatically in Nashville, Tennessee. So all I want to say is, hey, thanks for not making my life that miserable at the MSP airport when I'm coming and going.
No, solid airport. I've been around to a few myself. All of us have. And, yeah, they really do hold up. And not bad. And lots of good bar options.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bar
Shout
in
out
every
to
concourse.
Kathy, who works at Barrio, big KQ girl. She always hooks it up.
Well,
Oh,
I don't
yeah?
think her weight has anything to do with this, Candace. It's kind of a shot at her, but thanks for being one of our big listeners. You count as two now. No, I mean, no, I know what you're saying, but yeah, Minneapolis, and I love Barrio out there. I love Barrio and in St. Paul as well. Good food. Good. They know how to make a margarita, skinny margarita.
Really?
Good one. That's all I'm saying. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's, just lime juice. Keep it simple. No syrup, no goop in there. Just give me some lime juice and some tequila.
Well, I've got a plan I've got a flight this weekend. That's exciting for me. Now I know where to go when I get to the airport. How about this story just came across over the weekend? These are names that, Candace, you may not be familiar with, but I know Zepp and Tony will. Sid and Marty Krofft. Anybody that grew up in the 60s, 70s, or 80s, Sid and Marty Krofft, two brothers that created a string of bizarre television shows. A miracle that they ever got off the ground, much less found audiences. Sid and Marty Krofft. Well, Marty Krofft died over the weekend. He was 86 years old. Candace, a few months ago, I mentioned something about a show called HR Puffin Stuff, and you were like, what is that? I said, go to YouTube, and you watched a little, and you looked at me like, oh, my God, I feel like I just took some LSD, which is exactly the most psychedelic, trippy children's TV show ever. A boy is taken away to a magical island by a witch that wants to steal his talking flute. And on that island, all the animals and objects can speak. That was a show on Saturday mornings, and it ran for years. And we all watched HR Puffin Stuff. And in the obituary for Marty Krofft, I just read this. They only shot 17 episodes total.
No.
17.
Seriously?
That's it.
Oh, God.
It ran forever. I thought there was 100 episodes.
Same.
Right. When we were kids, you couldn't watch an episode of anything over. I mean, the Brady Bunch was on how many years? I mean, some of these,
5, I think.
5 seasons.
Yeah.
Gilligan's Island, 3 seasons?
3 or 4 tops.
I know, but I watched it it felt like 34 years. Every episode 100 times. HR Puffin Stuff. It says here just 69 to 70, 2 seasons.
Incredible. 17 episodes. Yeah. They then went on to do Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. Oh, hell yeah. The Boogaloos, a rock group made up of teenage insects. Lidsville. I remember it, but didn't really care for it. But Land of the Lost. They also produced Far Out Space Nuts with Bob Denver from Gilligan's Island. They had a show with Ruth Buzzy and Jim Neighbors called The Lost Saucer. And check this out. They did the Donnie and Marie show.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Wait, that's a knuckleball. Didn't see that one. We just veered into the ditch there with Donnie and Maria.
There was also, for one season, the Brady Bunch Hour, which was a variety song and dance show featuring the Brady Bunch kids. And Susan Olsen, who played Cindy Brady, is quoted very simply by saying, "It was just a straight-up freak show." Oh, and by the way, there was a Sid and Marty Krofft. They had a theme park at the Omni Hotel in downtown Atlanta. There was this was the thing that the world of Sid and Marty Krofft was inside this hotel in Atlanta, and I had friends that went down there specifically from Kentucky to go. You could go meet, like they had HR Puffin Stuff, the guy walking around. They had Slee Stacks. They had the whole thing. It was the craziest universe ever. So Marty Krofft, Godspeed. Well played, brother. You got not one, but like a half dozen of the most bizarre TV shows ever, all off the ground in the 70s. What a time.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, God, you talk about the TV shows that had an impact on us and lasted and just sparked the memory, man. Those were it.
Land of the Lost was, I got to a point where I knew these shows were ridiculous, and I would make fun of them. and still watch them. I mean, I was like, like you'd just be like, well, it's on. Well, like, I don't know, maybe this is the time they finally get back to the real world. And I don't know, Holly's kind of cute. Maybe I do have a thing for Holly. I don't know. And Will's kind of annoying, but I mean, you're just sitting there watching these shows just like the Brady Bunch a few years before. So anyway, Sid and Marty Krofft, man, what a golly, just hearing those songs that you played just puts me right back.
Yeah, I continued to watch it after Star Wars because, let's be honest, Land of the Lost did not feature state-of-the-art, cutting-edge sci-fi effects, It was the worst.
Sure.
I mean, you could literally do that on your phone better than they did it back then. But, I don't know, something about those shows. They just kind of got into our psyche and they stuck.
Yeah,
And
you hear the
they're still
music
there.
and you just want to get into your jammies and eat cereal and plant it.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I want to do right now.
I'll be honest with you. I don't need music to want to do those things, but that music certainly does make that desire. It strikes a match, if you will, to a desire that's already there.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, November the 27th. Experts from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food Safety and Inspection Service, they say this is the day. End of the road for your leftovers. Unless you are freezing them, get rid of them. Put that last meal together. Everything should be tossed after today.
Lame.
Well, they're just trying to save, especially those of us with some tum-tum issues in the past, Candy. They want to look. They're looking out for you.
Okay.
Just saying.
Yes, I probably should anyway. I gotta get back on track, man. Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
again, the smarty pants over there at the Department of Agriculture say the smell test is not 100% reliable. Don't push the meat and dairy past the 4-day mark. Thanksgiving dishes may spoil faster than other leftovers because the food sits out longer than after a typical meal.
Good point.
That's all very, very, very valid. 4 years ago, Thanksgiving 2020, woke up the next day and I put together, as is always the tradition, the casserole or the shepherd's pie, if you will, where you layer all of the leftovers into a casserole dish and stick it in, mashed potatoes on top, hence the shepherd's pie moniker. And I made a plate of that. I heated up a plate for my daughter, who 4 years ago was 17 years old. She took one bite and went, oh, God, no. And I said, what's the matter? She's like, oh, it's like all spoiled or something. And I was like, what? I go over, I smell it, seems fine. She goes, oh, that tastes terrible. And she's like drinking water. And I take a bite and it tastes totally fine. And I'm like, what is going on? She, as it turns out, had a couple months earlier had COVID and then got over it. And then after 6 or 8 weeks of feeling perfectly fine, lost her taste. Not only did she lose her ability to taste food and smell food, but it's not that she couldn't taste food. It's that all food tasted spoiled.
Fascinating.
And that went on for 6 months.
Oh my God.
And
I could use it for like 3.
only thing that child could eat was bananas and plain yogurt for 6 months.
Yeah, I need that to hit in January. 6 months of yogurt and bananas. I have to put on suit pants tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to get them on.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Pants.
What are you getting all
suit
gussied
pants?
up for?
Little teen.
What are suit pants?
Like, that's
so
a
you have a
weird-
suit, and it
Right.
comes with a jacket and pants.
Oh, so it's
How
a
are they
set.
Dress
different
pants.
than
Right,
regular
that makes
pants?
it a whole suit. It's one because I wear them like once a year. So
What's the occasion?
I have 32s, I have 34s, I have 35s, I have 30. I have all sorts of pants laying around, but only one pair of suit pants.
You're
And
screwed.
I just belt, and then you don't buckle them. You don't snap it or button your pants into place. That'll give you another inch.
Goes with your fancy flannels. Your dress flannel.
I am
Wow.
wearing a dress flannel with it, as a matter of fact, Tony.
All right, sir.
I tell you what, a 32, a pair of pants that say 32, I think it was like 7th grade last time I wore something that said 32 on it. Anything, what do you got, like a hot date? What's going on? What's with the suit?
No. Just emceeing an event for a buddy of mine. Right?
Like it.
In good old Minneapolis, yeah.
Strong. All right. Well, please share a photo of you, even maybe a video of you trying to get those pants on. We'd love that.
I've already tried. I just gave up. I thought, I just won't eat on Monday.
Good luck to you.
I'm not gonna eat today. Just booze. Maybe some leftovers. That would be a good way to purge the system. I could lose a couple of quick pounds by going for day 5 or whatever of that turkey.
Get the elastic waist dress pant.
They're making those now. That's on my Christmas wish list.
Do you guys remember Sansabelt?
Sansabelt slacks.
Yeah,
I've never seen them advertised.
Yes, Sansabelt, as in it's like all hoity-toity French, no belt. Mm-hmm. Well, this is crazy. It's right. And I never knew that. I never knew Sansabelt meant no. Or I also didn't realize until much later, Sanka, the coffee, sans caffeine, no caffeine. Sanka was decaffeinated instant coffee.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, they were trying to get us all excited by working in some French back in the day. Well, I can tell you what, I say they were trying. Worked for Don and Imelda Gorman. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah, they had like the Kelgon type commercials, right? A little Sanka.
Oh, sure.
It was a classy Sunday morning affair with, some of that. It had that, kind of that foggy, blurred camera going on.
Sure, it did.
Even fancier.
A little Vaseline on the lens for when you don't want to. You got to take the edge off. No caffeine. Instant Sanka.
We had Taster's Choice, which was
sure you did.
Gourmet.
Oh, it's gorgeous stuff. Nothing like and they would always refer to those grounds as crystals. The coffee crystals.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's just charcoal ground up and they add caffeine. Anyway, moving on. Hey, the Wild are hosting the St. Louis Blues tomorrow night at the XL Energy Center. I believe it's Grateful Dead night, if memory serves, at the XL Energy Center. And we would love to give away tickets to that game. We've also got a 4-pack of tickets to the St. Paul Ice Fishing and Winter Sports Show. So, hey, let's get on with the season of giving. We've got tickets to give away. We're going to force some listeners to earn those tickets, of course. Candace, we've got 2 callers locked and loaded. Tony, what game are we going to suggest? What am I trying to say? What game are we going to force these people to play?
We're going to put them to the test. Let's go.
Always be closing. Always be closing.
What are you selling?
Okay, what are you selling?
That was my sales pitch.
Really? That's your sales pitch?
So this is your sales pitch?
Here's the pitch.
Yeah, we're going to test your powers of persuasion, your sales skills. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you something, a concept, an idea, a thing, anything at all, and you have to sell us on it. The 4 of us, the benefits, the unique selling proposition, why it's a good thing, kind of like Shark Tank. You have 30 seconds, and we'll vote on your pitches. Good luck to y'all. We'll give you 2 pitches each.
I like it. Are we going to alternate, or do we go? Does each player go right in a row?
Let's alternate. Remember. Give them a little breather.
I like the alternate. I like the alternating situation here. All right, Candace, who's contestant number 1?
We have Dan from St. Paul.
Dan, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Oh, we're great. Thank you very much. Are you ready to play this bad boy?
I'll give it a whirl.
I appreciate that whirl.
Okay, we're not going to get too obscure this time, which I usually like to do. Instead, we're going to focus on the past few days. So your first pitch, holiday shopping is such an event, sometimes a drama. Tell us why shopping should be regulated, a fixed price, how much, and why. Go ahead.
Here's the pitch.
30 seconds.
Well, shopping should be regulated for safety and should be timed. That way people can all get a chance. And I guess do it by hour instead of all at one time. And
I like it.
Don't have Black Friday.
All right.
Did you say don't have Black Friday?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. For safety's sake, you got to time it, go by the hour instead of all at once, and get rid of Black Friday. Dan, solid case you just built right there.
Sure.
Very well played, sir. All right. Hang tight. We're going to go to contestant number 2 for their round 1.
I got scared.
Frady cats.
Oh, yeah,
We
that-
ran off
this
contestant
one,
number 2.
Man, this one takes some effort. You know, it's a thinking person's game.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Dan came up with a big 44-ounce bat of hickory and smacked that ball over the fence and ran someone off. We need a second contestant right now. 651-989-ROCK. Is that what you're trying to tell me, Candace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun, great prizes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure someone's on the horn now. You know, he brought up safety. I mean, that's the big argument. That's a great pitch. I was just looking at the Black Friday violence roundup. Not bad this year. 2 dead, however, 4 hospitalized, and 1 guy using his belt as a whip in the aisle of a store to keep people back from the big deals.
Are you being serious? Really? Two deaths on Black Friday?
Yeah, 2 deaths on Black Friday that were shopping related. I kind of have to get into them. I didn't want to start the morning with that, but killed outside of a Macy's mall.
Oh, man.
Indiana Jones fashion.
Yeah, trying to get some new suit pants, probably.
Yeah, it's really
size.
funny. I did see there was a record set for Black Friday online shopping, something like $58 billion or something like that, which makes Cyber Monday kind of pointless. Today, of course, Cyber Monday. Back in the old days, it was like, wait a minute, on Monday you can shop online, and that was all fascinating and interesting and got deals. And now, of course, the fascinating part is actually going to a mall, which I resisted going to malls as much as possible when malls were still cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Call me crazy. Candace, do we have a second caller yet?
Yes, we have Eric from Egan.
All right, back to the game. Eric, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're great, brother. You ready to rock this thing?
I'm ready to play. What am I selling?
Tony?
I'll tell you.
Ready.
Eric, we got a little taste of the white stuff this weekend. Instead of shoveling, blowing, scraping, pitch us on a new use for snow.
Here's the pitch.
Go ahead.
Let's have
All
it,
right,
Eric.
well, you got snowball fights. Great for the kids. Great for the family. You can make jumps with it if you're a skier or a snowboarder. If you're having a tough time, you could make an igloo. It's a great insulated house.
Sure.
If you were in a survival situation, you could melt it.
There you go.
Right. Nice job.
All right, your time's up. Well done. I'm a big fan of snowball fights. Great for the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's where we teach them a lesson.
That's exactly right. That's what it is. Eric, well done. You jumped in late and you made it happen. So sit tight. We're going to go back to Dan for his round 2. Dan, are you still with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Let's go. Round 2. This is when we separate the wheat from the chaff. Good luck to you.
All right, your second shot here. Turkey, so cliche for Thanksgiving. Tell us what the new featured food or foods should be for Thanksgiving.
Here's the pitch.
Go ahead.
I think it should be turkey with stuffed sweet potatoes and do some cranberry sauce inside of it and some gravy over the top. Some rolls on the side with cranberry sauce.
Pushing the cranberries.
A lot of cranberry sauce there.
Crazy new twist.
All right, Dan. We were looking for something new, but you know what? You sold us on the throwback machine. So it did. I got to be honest. It did sound pretty darn good, especially with all that cranberry. All right, hang tight, Eric. It is time for your second round. Good luck to you, sir.
Okay, Thanksgiving usually features a kids' table. How about a new scheme for how everyone should be seated at the table for various reasons?
Here's the pitch.
Go to it.
All right, we're getting rid of the kids' table. I hated it as a kid. I want to sit with the adults. We got to get these kids, get the new ideas in them.
Yep.
Let them talk with the big kids. We're going to sit parents next to kids so the tiny kids don't get too annoying. Everybody's going to have a good time.
That's that.
Some time to kill. He's giving us some time to think about it, isn't he?
Yeah, all right. Okay, all right, Eric. Points for enthusiasm, to be sure. All right, so we gotta vote here, guys. Let's do this quick. We got Dan. Dan wanted to, make it safer for Black Friday, and then he offered turkey as a new combo. Eric thought snowball fights would be great, and then he said, just no kids table. Everyone's going to have a good time. Zepp, who's winning the game today?
Could be a pick 'em, but I'm going to go with Eric. Snow. It's an easy sell for me.
All right, fair enough. Tony?
Eric, creativity and presentation.
Okay. Candace?
I'm going to go.
Yes.
I like Dan. I do.
Well,
I'm going to go with Dan.
Then great. You don't have to laugh about it.
I'm
It's
just,
not a date.
I just think he sounds nice.
He does sound nice. He does sound nice.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. I could tie this bad boy up. I'm afraid that I'm going to have to go with Eric for the 3-1 victory. I think the enthusiasm again, calling in late. I don't know. I just had a soft spot for the guy. But listen, Dan, appreciate your efforts. You, sir, as the runner-up, have a 4-pack of tickets to the St. Paul Ice Fishing and Winter Sports Show over at the St. Paul River Center. And Eric, my man, you came in late and you picked up a couple of tickets. Tomorrow night, the Wild hosting the Blues. Congrats to both of you. Thanks for playing.
Woo! Let's go.
There's that enthusiasm we were talking about. Right on, gentlemen. Thank you both. Hey, guys, listen, all of our clothes here are half off.
What?
Listen to this. You can save 50% on all 92 KQRS merch through Monday night with the code HOLIDAYS. Go to 92kqrs.com, click on the shop tab, and grab your favorite t-shirts, hats, hoodies, and more half off while supplies last. That code again till tonight, HOLIDAYS. Go get them.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Good morning. The Vikings got a big Monday night ball game tonight, division game against Chicago. I'm feeling very bullish on the Vikings right now. I believe they're going to turn this thing around, and we will talk a little football probably later in the show. But right now, very happy to say that we are joined by Michael Damian on the horn. Michael Damian, you may first know him as Danny Romalotti from The Young and the Restless. That's how I first came to know the man. Michael Damian has a Christmas album coming out next month, a single that's already out. And Michael, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, thank you. How are you guys doing?
Everything is well. Everything's great on this end, sir. Let me ask you a question. This Christmas album,
Sure.
how did it come about? I mean, there's so many great Christmas songs. Christmas music is something we all take on every year, and sometimes we say, okay, enough Christmas songs. But you decided I'm going to jump in and put my own spin on it. Was this a long time plan? What's the genesis of this whole album?
Well, as you know, I come from the music world, and music really has actually been my whole life. And that's actually how I even got the job on Young and the Restless, playing Danny Romalotti. So it all goes back to my roots are music to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably played my record Rock On in the late '80s and
Yep.
'90s, and so thank you for that, by the way. But I've also been making a lot of films, and quite a few of them have been Christmas movies. Last year I had a film out called Falling for Christmas. Netflix. It was the return of Lindsay Lohan. And just last week we premiered Paris Christmas Waltz, which is another film that I directed, wrote, and produced on Great American Family Network. So I've been working on a lot of Christmas music, and I started getting back into the studio, having a really great time recording and working with my Grammy Award-winning producer brothers. And so we started recording some original and writing some original Christmas music, and it just blossomed. And with so many Christmas films I'm making as a filmmaker, I thought it'd be nice maybe once in a while to pepper in one of them if it fits the story of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I've got a full, complete, album, and it's actually out now. We were able to get it out Monday, and so actually today is Monday, isn't it?
It is.
so it's out today. So if you want some new Christmas music, and I did some reimagining of some classics as well.
Oh, that's fantastic! Yeah, I like the idea of there being some new Christmas songs to go along with the classics. You referenced you were making records and as a musical performer before you got the job on The Young and the Restless. Were you hip to the soaps before that came along? Did you have any idea how big they were and how much that would change your life?
No idea. I just know that I was on Dick Clark. You remember Dick Clark? I was on
Of course.
Bandstand.
Yeah.
And I sang. I had a song out. She Did It, written by Eric Carmen.
Yep.
And so the producers of the show saw me on American Bandstand and came up with the character Danny Romalotti, this guy who wants to become a rock star. And so when they called me, it was pretty funny because I said, I was like, oh, this sounds good. They said, well, we want you to come on the show and perform and do your music. And I thought, well, this is amazing. And then just before we hung up, they said, oh, by the way, we forgot to ask, do you act? And I said, of course I do.
Yeah.
Between us, I was acting right now. I just said, when someone asks you that, what are you going to do? No.
Of course. Right.
So I kind of said, yep, absolutely. Of course I do. And then, of course, hung up and grabbed my brother Larry. I was like, hey, Larry, you got to teach me how to act really fast because I'm starting this show next week. And so, it all it evolved that way. So I have a big thank you to Dick Clark for giving me that opportunity and putting me on the show.
Michael Damian's with us on the KQ Morning Show. I'm a senior in high school in 1982, and I've spent my life making fun of soaps. My senior year, I get like 90 minutes in the middle of the day where I can leave school. My buddy lived right around the corner, so we went to his house for lunch every day. He's a Young and a Restless kid. His family watched it. It took me exactly 5 days in a row, and then I was hooked. I was obsessed, and I've told people for 40 years. For 40 years, I got a summer place in Genoa City. That's my shtick. So, did you recognize immediately? Like, did you suddenly walk down the street and people are yelling at you? How quickly did you realize, man, soap operas are huge?
Well, yeah, absolutely. It was between that and being on the cover of all of Tiger Beat magazine and Teen Beat magazine and the
sure.
combo platter and the show. What's really cool. And I assume it was just a coincidence. In 1989, when that big summer, when we had the big concerts on the show, I performed Rock On the show, and coincidentally, Young and the Restless went #1 that summer, and that was the summer that took them to #1 and has not dropped out of the #1 slot since that summer of 1989.
Mm-hmm.
We had the big Rock On event concerts on the show. So I was so thrilled to be a part of that whole and contribute to that summer of 1989. And people. By the way, just so you know, people watch Young and the Restless is the #1 show in France. They are obsessed. It's in prime time over there. And so Italy, all the different countries, and it's really cool. Wherever you travel, Daddy, get this out, Daddy, So, then they start speaking Italian to me. I am half Italian, but I don't speak fluent Italian.
Right.
But they're like rambling, thinking because they hear me in Italian every day, speaking Italian. So it's kind of fun.
Michael, when I look back and I think about, that bastard David Kimball framing you for cocaine possession and all the things that used to keep me up at night, was there ever a storyline? Is there one storyline that was too crazy, or is there one that you think that was the nuttiest thing I ever had to go through? Because some of those stories are phenomenal, even more so in hindsight.
Well, that was a really good story. Thank you for bringing that up. That was a very unusual, intense story. Of course, Michael Baldwin giving me his kidney. Remember that one?
Of course. Great. Yeah, man.
Yeah, we always joke whenever I see him, but we always kind of point to our sides and go, "Hey, get thumbs up." Thank you for that, Val. That was a good story. I think the Danny and Cricket story though is probably the strongest, most. Mm-hmm. That more people can relate to it. It's one of those classic Romeo and Juliet kind of stories where, we just trying to stay together and all the forces pulling us apart.
Yeah, right.
and Phyllis coming in and causing all kinds of problems. And by the way, I'm on the show now,
right?
And so you can tune in, and I guarantee you're going to get right back into where you left off.
Oh no, it's trust me. I over the years, there would be times in the 90s where I was traveling constantly, and I would miss 12, 14 months, and I would put it back on, and it took about 40 minutes, and I was like, yeah, right back in. Got it. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
You can watch Danny and Cricket and Phyllis in our triangle right now if you put it on the tube today.
Michael Damian's got a new Christmas album out. I would be remiss if I also didn't mention along the way you starred in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat on Broadway. So you started with music. There's always a musical component, but if you got one thing left to do, is it Broadway? Is it an episode of the show? Do you want to give a concert? Like what's the one thing? Is there one that means the most to you?
Well, boy, that's a great question. I really am so thrilled and honored to have had the opportunity and having the opportunity to do to make so many of my dreams come true. And I keep, searching for new adventures, but I really I'm loving reconnecting on Young and the Restless. It's been a really great experience. Making films as a filmmaker is a wonderful experience, and I'm having a great time doing that as well. And the new Christmas album, I think is probably going back to what you just asked. Having the new Christmas album means so much to me because it all started with music. So to have, I would love to have a holiday song that every year people turn on or add it to their holiday collection. And I hope maybe they'll like the new one. It's called Bring Back the Christmas Card. Mm-hmm. And it's a song, I sing it with the amazing Sharon Hendricks, who sings with every major superstar, and she's a lovely, amazing talent. And it's about basically stopping just for a second, reconnecting with people. Maybe, hey, write a Christmas card instead of texting, Merry Christmas. Send them a Christmas card. It's not that hard. So love to have a holiday favorite. That would be a wonderful dream come true.
Yeah, sure. Michael Damian, so you've got the Christmas album out. You're back on the Y and the R. You're producing, writing, and directing films like a madman. Do you have time for golf? I mean, what is there any extra time in your day?
Yes, and I'm horrible, and I live on the 12th fairway of a golf course in Vegas, and I'm terrible. What's really weird? I was better when I didn't live on a golf course, and now I'm on a golf course, and I'm horrible. Do you know how many houses I've hit? Do you know how many neighbors' houses I've hit with my drive?
Hey, man, you're Danny Romalotti. You can get away with murder out there. It's fantastic. Michael, listen, hey, I know you got to bounce. This is a real pleasure. Honestly, I've been 40 years in, man, with that character. All the best with the Christmas record. Thanks so much.
You're amazing. Hey, rock on, my brother. Thank you so much.
See ya.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, November 27th, also known as the Monday of Monday Night Football. Vikings with a big game tonight. And I want to talk about that in a moment. But, Zepp, you said something about road rage a few minutes ago. I saw the after effects of what I later learned was road rage. The other day on I-65 in Kentucky, I came across literally, not exaggerating, a 9-car pileup. And when I Googled later to see what the hell that was, thankfully it was in the opposite direction of the way I was traveling, visiting some family over the long weekend. And it started from road rage. Not one, but 2 pickup trucks going at it. On an interstate, which is, last I checked, public land, public roads. It's everybody's road. 2 guys going at it led to 9 cars all taken out of action. No fatalities, thankfully, but man, oh man, people lose sight of the fact that those roads, well, they're kind of all of ours.
And one of those guys, if not both of them, are still arguing to this day. But no, he cut me. I was in. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you've crossed the line. It means you're unhappy. It means you're a miserable person. Listen, we all get annoyed in traffic. Sometimes we even flip somebody off, or good with you right there. Sometimes we even pass them to get that look at them to try and make. But when it goes into road rage and you start, throwing things at each other, you disrupt traffic, you create an accident, then that just means you're a psycho. There is no right. There is no wrong. You're automatically wrong. We don't even know what happened here, but someone did something that the other person didn't like on the big road, and here's what happened.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. And they were like yelling at each other and flipping each other off, and then they started throwing drinks. And that's kind of when I knew it was I might want to film, because like they were throwing like big gulps and Arizona cans at each other. Definitely throwing drinks and spitting and stuff. I was kind of afraid there was going to be a gun or something. Well, it was really crazy for me, and it really seemed unnecessary. Like the whole thing could have been just solved with like a, oh, sorry, or could you let me in, wave, you know, just more polite. And it seemed to spiral into something that was much crazier than it had to be.
And an accident, actually, both of them on the side of the road with authorities called. And yeah, I'm sorry, what happened? Did someone cut your minivan off?
It's the big gulp. It's all the caffeine. See, that's what happens when you get all that caffeine, all that sugar. Yeah, it's gonna take you down the wrong road. I was in my brother's car back in the late 80s, and it's totally standard thing. We were in Baltimore. Light turns green, car in front of us doesn't go anywhere, and he hits the horn for literally this long. Meep. Just a meep. Yeah. And the guy just loses his mind. The dude in front of us literally puts it in park and jumps out of his car.
Yeah.
And my brother has his window down, and he looks out the window, and very calmly he goes, no. What I was saying was, hey, bud, the light's green. Not your sister's a whore. You misinterpreted.
Yeah.
And,
that's okay.
He didn't go, wah. He just went, meep. That was it.
Yeah.
And the guy looked at him and then just put his head down, jumped in his car, and then raced away. Like, if I speed away from the scene, I won't look like as big an idiot as I was. But I remember thinking about that. Like, yeah, you really misinterpreted what that horn meant. It was just, hey, man, time to go.
All right, yeah. Right. Not that I need a reminder from the person behind me, although that person, listen, not everyone, a lot of people pull out their phones at the light. But if you're in the front light row, you don't get to. You are the watcher of the light for the rest of us. So when you start moving, everyone knows to drop their phone and get back after it. That will drive you crazy when you're about 4 cars back. But there again, the road rage. It doesn't matter. Here's what happens. No one that's happy and content and getting laid, and the children are doing well, and everyone's healthy, no one like that is getting into a road rage incident.
No.
Ever.
No.
I mean, they might become a little annoyed and with this person right here, but if you're happy and having a good life, so the person that has the road rage, that's what I'm watching. I'm watching someone who hates their life. They hate going home to it. They hate going to their jobs. It's all about just hating yourself. Don't hate yourself. Let someone cut you off occasionally. It's not that big of a deal.
It is everyone's road. It really is. Yes. I will say, I have found the Twin Cities drivers to be far more polite and less likely to incite in me some raised feelings. Like down south, I think everybody's a frustrated NASCAR driver.
Yeah.
And there's really that thing of, if you're in a lane and you put your turn signal on to say, I'd like to come over now. People, I tell you, in the state of Tennessee, that's an invitation for the guy in your blind spot to speed up.
Yeah.
No. You're not getting in front of me. And I haven't noticed anywhere near that much. In fact, my first week in January in the Twin Cities, I was at 2 different lights, and I was the guy that didn't go on the green, and 2 people honked at me, and both times it happened, I immediately looked up, started to accelerate. I looked in my rearview mirror, and both times they were also waving, like, "Hey, it's yes, I honked, but it's friendly. I'm just a nudge." And I thought, man, that is not how it rolls down south. Right on.
Friendly honk? There is no friendly honk ever in the history. You don't honk the horn at someone and then go, I was just trying to be polite. I was just being friendly. Well, you've made the decision to jab them in the ribs.
But if you're setting someone straight who's also being rude by not going with the flow of traffic, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
like I said, it's just a little burp, and there is that a full 1 second. If you think about it, that's something. If you go 2 seconds, then you want to throw hands. You're letting the person know, I want to fight you.
Although here, if they give you the wave, they could be concealing it with a chopper or a mitten, and underneath they're giving you the finger.
A finger. That's why we wear mittens, man.
That's right.
Flip you the finger, and they think we're waving here. I like to wave the finger a little bit for added effect.
I got those choppers up in Brainerd. I got to remember that's what they're actually for.
Right? No.
Yeah, that's outstanding. I'm a big fan of that. A little bit of music news, and this is sad, guys. I'm sure you heard, but Hall & Oates they're on the outs. Daryl Hall has sued John Oates and John Oates' wife. Apparently, there's a joint venture that they have going on in some form or fashion. Oates was planning to sell his part of that. Hall is not happy. Hall and Oates, literally, in court. But Hall sued Oates, and not only did he sue him, he took out a restraining order against him.
That's personal. What the? So Oates can't hang around his house anymore? Was he showing up and peeking in the windows?
I kind of doubt. I doubt he was. I mean, I got to say, and John Oates lives in Nashville. I don't believe Daryl Hall does. So I don't know if he was, making some late night road trips up to get in under Hall's skin. I know John Oates a little bit. He's just a great dude. He's just totally chill. Living life, having a good time. Boy, the restraining order though that got some eyebrows raised around the music world.
Yeah, that's the one that sort of grabbed the attention, right? I mean, ex-bandmates suing each other. That's that's just a page 4 story these days. But
sure.
Yeah, the fact that he got a restraining order, was it maybe just contacting him all the time? Like, Daryl, dude, here, what's going on? And I don't know what's going on. Daryl Hall seems like I don't know anything about the guy. I've enjoyed his show, Daryl's House, when he has Sammy Hagar and everyone in to do his little musical thing. Very talented guy.
Sure.
I've sang along with the songs over the years. Maneater, come on. But I mean, he seems like he could be the less of the nicer of the two. You know what I'm saying?
Got a little edge. He's had to answer questions for 30 years now since they really stopped being a duo working together. Well, what did John Oates actually do? Because Daryl Hall sang all those great songs. And people would always be like, what did Oates do? And the answer is, well, I don't really know. But what did Daryl Hall do without him? And that's not something Daryl Hall wants to talk about. Because last I heard, the answer was not much. But they are a combo platter, for better or worse. And a couple of years ago on a road trip with the fam, my wife pulled up like a Spotify list of just Hall & Oates chestnuts. And man, you forget how many great songs those guys had. And even if the production sometimes is a little too modern, 80s-ish, that dude Daryl Hall can sing, boy. By God, I got no beef with anything they're doing musically, but apparently they're beefing together. We'll keep you posted. We hate to see these guys. It's kind of like peanut butter and jelly getting upset with each other.
Oates shouldn't have lost the mustache. It just doesn't look right.
Oh, did he?
Well,
maybe that's where the restraining order came in. This weird guy's been hanging. Wait, is that you, John?
Doesn't work.
It's true. That's true. He was rocking the full Ned Flanders push broom in the 80s too.
Yeah.
That was he got all you could get out of a mustache mileage wise.
Yeah, well, Daryl said of John, I'm looking at a transcript here. He was on Bill Maher's Club Random. He said, he's my business partner. He's not my creative partner.
Oh boy. Here we go.
John and I are brothers, but we are not creative brothers. That sounds like you're brothers. You're fighting like brothers.
I had a buddy of mine. His wife is involved in a company called Hall & Oates, Haulin, and it was like an oatmeal product that you could order delivered to your house, like Haulin, and it was called Hall & Oates, and they were doing great business. And Daryl Hall shut that down. He sued them. I was like, come on, man, it's oatmeal, for God's sakes. No one's gonna confuse the two.
Right. It's not like it's besmirching your great image. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to think less of Hall & Oates because there's an oatmeal out there that's parroting their name a little bit.
By the way, are you guys familiar with there's a phone number that is still in operation, and it's called Call & Oates. And you call this number and you get a response. It's a recording, and it says, if you need to hear, and it's like basically which Hall & Oates classic do you need to hear to lift your spirits? That thing's been operational for years and years and years. Last I checked, it still worked. Call & Oates, pretty good. I mean, I always enjoyed it.
Should I call it right now?
Your emergency.
Yep, it works. Yeah, I'll give you the number. Let's see. It's fantastic. I have it literally in my phone, which is just hilarious to me. Call and Oates 719-266-2837. Yeah, man. You can just get that Hall and Oates itch scratched anytime. 719-266-2837.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Yes, on a normal Monday at this time, we would be joined by Robert Smith, the Vikings icon. He will join us instead tomorrow to recap tonight's Monday night game. Robert Smith, every time he joins us, of course, he is brought to you by our friends at Polar Tool and Supply, your trusted name for power tools and fasteners. Visit polartool.us. He'll be here tomorrow at this time, hopefully discussing a Vikings victory. And I would like to talk about that Vikings game, but first I have to mention this. Are you ready for this? Chris Jericho's Rock and Wrestling Rager at Sea is back for its 5th installment, 5 Alive, and we're going to send one winner and a guest on a sold-out voyage. You will sail from Miami to Cozumel on the Norwegian Pearl. Cozumel? Is that how you say that? I think it is.
Correct.
Miami to Cozumel on the Norwegian Pearl for a 4-day adventure combining the best rock and roll, wrestling, comedy, live podcasts, paranormal explorations, and all-around outrageous moments in the middle of the stinking ocean. Right now, text the national keyword Chris to 95819 to enter for a chance to win. Good Lord.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you're going to go spend 4 days at sea, that's the 4 days you want to be on.
They're doing it all. I mean, they've got everything in there. Maybe, I wouldn't be surprised if there's the Super Bowl happens on there while you're there. I mean, it's
paranormal explorations at sea.
Where'd that come from?
When worlds collide. Make no mistake about it. A lot of people go on those cruises looking for love. A lot of people come off those cruises with a whole lot of people that they're loving. And apparently, if you're a single person these days and of a younger generation, that means you're probably seeing up to, what was the numbers up? Six people at a time?
Yeah, 6 people at a time, averaging. Well, it's different now because back then you had to actually see all those people occasionally. Now you can seeing them means just being in contact with them. I mean, if you count text flirtations as seeing someone, which I think they do in this context, then yeah, I mean, it's easy to pile them up. It's easy to get into a whole bunch of little complicated relationships. Like, are we seeing each other? Are we going out? We went out for one date. We're planning a date. So that's in that gray area, where you're just trying to maximize your opportunities to find, well, of course, your soulmate.
My sole reason for, if I were a single person, not to be quote unquote dating 6 people at once is there's no question I would text the wrong person the wrong thing.
Oh yeah.
There's just I am midway into texting the wrong person twice a week, at least. I go, wait, oh, crap, I'm sending this to the wrong person. Now, 99% of the time, no harm would be done because I'm usually texting somebody something like, was my appointment 10 or 11? And I'm sending it to the wrong person. No harm done. Occasionally, when I'm writing something like, I can't believe what a moron he is, then I'm like, oh, God, thank God. Because if I'm going to text somebody, if I'm going to send a text where I'm ripping on someone, I almost always put that person's name in to text them. That's a problem. And you'd say to yourself, well, Steve, why? Well, then stop ripping on people. And the answer is, sorry, no. There are people that I need to rip on a fairly regular basis, and I need to do it via text, and I need to blow up potential relationships.
Well, now I've got a friend, Rory, to talk about. This is the modern way of thinking about it now, Steve. He will text the wrong person on purpose, and it'll be a ghost character that he created. Like if he's really interested in Michelle, he will text Michelle as Tina and then say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to send that to you. Now, why does he do that? To make Michelle more interested. Wait a minute, there's a Tina out there? There's more than one person after this guy. Maybe he's not as big a loser as I thought he was. It's like, shopping for a girlfriend when you have a girlfriend.
Wow.
So he'd mistake text. Now, he's ahead of the curve. The rest of us are just sort of catching up, trying to get 6 people that were dating at one time virtually. Yeah, he's already out there. He's intercepted that, man.
You know how they say, they say play chess, not checkers. That's more like playing tic-tac-toe, not checkers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a sideway. I mean, it takes a little bit of thinking, but maybe not quite so much. Maybe a little overthinking, in fact.
Maybe. Yeah.
Just
maybe.
saying.
Yeah.
6 people at a time. Candace, are you in touch with 6 different young men at any given
Oh,
time?
gosh. No.
Okay.
I remember when I was younger, I feel like my grandma would always be like, so why don't you have a boyfriend? You know, that whole thing. Grandmas do that. And
Right.
I'd always be like, because I just can't choose. I have so many. And I would just be lying.
And she'd say, you trollop.
Yeah. We call them floozies in my day.
Hussy.
In my day, my wife Rosemary had an aunt, Virginia, a striking older woman who back in the day came up to me one day. She said, I got to tell you, Steve, if I were your age, whew. And I thought that was a little strange thing to hear. And she said, back in my day, I was what they called a... And that split second on the H, what she said was, I was a heartbreaker. And I literally, in the time it went from the H sound to the in heartbreaker, in my brain, I went, whore, hussy. Like, what is about to come out of this woman's mouth? Harlot. None of them. She was just a heartbreaker. I was like, oh, thank God. I thought this was about to take a really bizarre turn.
Her Aunt Jenny and Pat Benatar, a couple of heartbreakers.
A couple of them right there. Okay, how about this? Northwestern University. It's a great school down there in Evanston, Illinois, north of Chicago, right? Bunch of smart kids, Big Ten, great academic powerhouse type of school. There's a restaurant right near the university called the Big Wig Tacos and Burritos. And last week, right before Thanksgiving break, they had what they called a $1 burrito event.
Uh-oh.
So you can probably determine 2 pieces of information here already. 1, they were selling burritos for $1. And 2, it did not go well because there was a breakout of the norovirus, which is what we normally call the stomach flu, from students the day before all traveling home for Thanksgiving took advantage of the $1 burrito events. Usually caused by people, it's as simple as you don't wash your hands after you use the bathroom. You prepare food. It's very highly contagious. Yeah. So students on Tuesday and Wednesday were showing up at the University Health Clinic with symptoms, a lot of stomach pains, a lot of diarrhea, and all of them, they were like, well, have you eaten anything lately? And they all said, yeah, those $1 burritos at the Big Wig. If you're going to go to a place that serves food and it's called the Big Wig, just think twice. What is it? Big Wig. I'm not a fan of the name to begin with. I don't even know what's on the menu.
I don't know what the backstory is there. I'd have to read the story on the backside of the menu there. But yeah, $1 burrito, that's baiting right there. Wow. That's easy. Every college kid's going to make a move on that. What must that dormitory have been like?
Well, the noro is just incredibly explosive and instant.
Yeah, I mean, like you can't almost get there. I've had it before. Like if it's, I mean, you just sit in the bathroom. You just bring a little laptop in there and set up camp in there. That's
generally, though, it's 24-hour in and out. You don't normally go past a day with that, correct? Am I thinking of the same thing? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was about the same. Then you need a day of just like rest because it's physically exhausting. Bothing is what we call it. When you're
two lines, no waiting.
Yeah, exactly. When you're bothing like that, that's physically exhausting. You need a day of just kind of laying around feeling sorry for yourself.
The Timeout Deli was a place where I went to college in Bowling Green, Kentucky. They had an amazing steak and cheese sandwich, very spicy, run by a family that had come over from Egypt, and they had amazing food and a ton of stuff that you'd never heard of, and it was all incredible. But I used to get this steak and cheese sub like there was no one's business, and there was only at one time, ordered it, delivered it to the dorm. I ate it, and it was, no kidding, 3 minutes after I took the first bite, I was like, oh my God, oh no. And it was a 24-hour situation. And everybody I knew was like, man, you can never order from there again. And I was like, yeah, but it's just so damn good. And I went right back to the well, never had a problem again. I was like, no, I'm sorry, man. I've had too many good late night sandwiches from this place to let one little norovirus scare me off. I'm a dedicated, if I'm a fan, I'm a fan. It's like when Sting puts those records out with the Lute. I'm still like, yeah, but I like the Police. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. You're not going to hold it. You're going to go back to your Police album, even if
sure,
Sting left a bad taste.
So Friday, Black Friday, I said earlier something like $58 billion. I was just a little off. It was $9.8 billion spent in America online on Black Friday. Did any of you guys get online Friday and buy anything?
No, old school dude went right down to the store.
Really?
Yeah, it was Sid's idea. So Sid and Dylan, it was just the three of us. So yeah, we wandered down and did a little Christmas. I got a new flannel. I'm not even BSing you right
Very
there.
nice.
Got the new flannel there.
Not big crowds. Nothing going on too heady at the store.
No, I mean, it was big, but it wasn't, no one was throwing elbows in there. It was fairly civilized, but it was busy. One of those 30% off everything. Of course, after I bought my 30% off flannel, I jumped online immediately to find that it was marked up 30% before they marked it down 30% because everyone online had it for their sale price, but that's not the point.
Here's something that tells me that I'm still old-fashioned, even when it comes to something like cyber purchasing. Half of the online purchases, just over half of the $9.8 billion, those purchases were made on phones. So that means usually impulse buys. I don't buy anything from my phone. I mean, I'm thinking about it. I always have to wait to get to the laptop. I don't know. There's something about buying. I think maybe because I have a subconscious realization that it would just be a slippery slope, and then I'm buying backup sleds and crap that I don't need. But yes, over half of Black Friday sales done on the phone. Wow. And I feel like, wow, that really says I'm an old timer because I only do my online shopping on my laptop.
I always buy new underpants on Cyber Monday.
Underpants?
There's
underpants. Yeah, like long johns, a base layer.
Yeah, I get a variety, because, you're not cheap anymore.
Okay, and so sorry, I got so stuck on the use of the word underpants, I missed the point. What were you saying?
I always get new ones on Cyber Monday. That's my day.
Oh, okay.
To load up, switch them out,
Right.
All sizes, all varieties, you never know.
Yeah.
Just the day to do it.
Okay, so that answers the question of what's going on for you after the show today, Candace.
Oh no, I already took care of it this morning.
You've already the underpant jamboree 23's already come and gone?
It's I wake up and every Cyber Monday.
Animal designs?
Yeah, I get a variety, Tony, because it's just that you get the best deals on the underpants on Cyber Monday.
Good plan.
Animal undies.
Oh, that's great.
I didn't think about that.
That's wonderful stuff. Hey, tonight at the U.S. Bank Stadium, the Chicago Bears are in town. Do you want to talk about that, Candace?
Yeah, I like Bears.
You like Bears, but you don't like the Chicago Bears, do you?
No.
So last week, the Broncos very painfully ended the Vikings' 5-game winning streak. That streak began in Chicago back on October 15th. And I would say this is in a very, every game is the most important game of the season from here on out. And this one is no exception. You got to turn that ship around. The Vikings schedule, if they get the win tonight, how about this? This is the coolest thing about the schedule. They have a bye week next week. Yeah. That is a late season bye. And holy smokes, if they enter the bye with a 7-5 record with a win tonight, they've got to go on the road to play the Raiders and the Bengals, two teams who are sideways. And then they've got the Lions, Packers, Lions trifecta to finish the season. Very much still in the wild card race. And, of course, that begins in very important win tonight. I'm very excited about this game. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to attend the game, but I will be watching with bells on. Looking forward to the pregame. I'm looking for big things out of the offense tonight against the Bears.
Yeah, big things. I think this is an important game because if they lose this one, right now what we're doing is we're waiting for Justin Jefferson to decide when he'd like to return to play football. Will it be this season with a playoff contender, or is he just going to sit out the rest of the season?
Nah.
I mean, hamstring injury. Come on, JJ, milking it a little bit.
I like it.
They lose tonight. He sits out the rest of the season. They win tonight. He'll be back after the bye.
Yeah, well, you know what? That makes sense. If they lose tonight, I think they do kind of relegate themselves to talking about next year. But with a win tonight, they're back in it. And by the way, I fully support a guy like JJ not rushing back a hamstring. I'm fine with it because
I'm not even criticizing him, really, but I mean, it's clear that, I mean, he's kind of sitting and watching. Is this going to be a playoff team? Is there some playoff money involved here? Is Dobbs, is Dobbs going to get us down the stretch here? Are we going to get that done? So, but yeah, I mean, it's the Bears. It's a division game, so it's a pick'em game because the Vikings aren't clearly. I mean, they're the better football team. I don't think there's any doubt about that, but not so far in a way that they're going to roll through the Bears because it's a division game. It wasn't that many years ago that the Bears were 0-6 and came into Minnesota and beat the Vikings. So I think it only lost one at that time. We're 5-1.
Oh yeah.
So,
well, look at the Packers on Thanksgiving. On Jordan Love, at the one time the Lions finally are like legit giving their fans a Thanksgiving game they can feel good about, and Jordan Love comes in there and looks like Bart Starr resurrected. just phenomenal. Division games are just an entire different planet always. Yeah. Hey, you can stream 92KQRS on your phone, and you can listen anywhere you go. Search 92KQRS at the App Store. And then you're good to go. Listen on your phone. Or, you know what you can also do? Just tell your smart speaker, hey, play 92 KQRS. Are you still with us? I just wanted to get on a microphone and say something like that to a crowd at a gig, especially after the big power ballad. Are you still with us, Minneapolis?
Last Kiss show ever this upcoming weekend. And
speaking of which,
Garden. But I think my theory is that they are going to tour again, but without their makeup.
Oh, you think that's the loophole, the makeup hole?
That's the loophole.
I think they've done that twice now. First of all, they started the farewell tour in 2000. That's a true story. Yeah. And then they've gone no makeup, back to makeup, no makeup again, back to makeup. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not. Like Gene Simmons said, they're not retiring even after they die. He's already set up the AI stuff.
They just missed some shows. Paul Stanley got sick. They had to blow off 3 gigs right here at the final last week of the last tour ever or whatever, allegedly. And he was sick as a dog and said he felt so bad he was wondering if this was, in fact, his time. Paul Stanley. Now, Gene Simmons said that. I'd be like, "Oh, come on, Gene, put a sock in it." But Paul's a pretty straight shooter. I bet he really was sick. I can see that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it can't be getting any easier.
No, I can't imagine. I saw Paul Stanley at a 7-Eleven in L.A. in 2004, and I thought then, man, that guy, I mean, he's doing great, but he's old. I mean, not old for just walking around, but old to be in Kiss, old to still be Paul Stanley. And that was 20 years ago.
That's it, right? I mean, they can't come out and look age appropriate. They can't just come out and say, hey, we're in our 70s, we're Kiss, and here's what we're doing. I mean, they've got a brain. Like Gene Simmons said, what was he talking about? Somebody recently said couldn't make it 40 minutes on stage at a Kiss show because he's got to wear like 80 pounds of gear to go out there.
It's a lot.
Still spitting the fire, in the blood, and Paul's still doing zip lines. I mean, because it's Kiss. It's outrageous. Look at the makeup. I mean, that's the essence of that band, the biggest rock and roll show on earth. How they build it. So you've got to bring that. That sounds tiring. I haven't even hit my 60s yet, and that sounds tiring.
Speaking of older guys still rocking, Aerosmith famously launched their Peace Out tour in September, their farewell tour. And unlike Kiss, everybody in the Aerosmith camp and periphery was saying, no, this is really it. Like they may do a Vegas residency, they may do privates, but they will not tour again. They got 3 shows in and then pulled the plug on the tour. Steven Tyler, the word on the street was he had a fractured larynx, which was the first time anybody other than a certain number of doctors had ever heard those 2 words in the same sentence. And here's the thing. They said, we're going to rebook all the shows for 2024. They've yet to announce those shows. And the Live Nation / Ticketmaster policy, refunds will be available to those unable to attend the new date once it's announced, or if no new date is announced within 60 days of the original postponement. That 60 days is going to be this week. So we will know, I think it's safe to say, this week if those shows are actually going to to happen, because Live Nation / Ticketmaster has been happy to hold on to all of that ticket money for a couple months. I can only imagine how much interest they've earned sitting on tens of thousands of tickets. But if they haven't announced new dates by this week, then everybody's going to be getting those refunds, and we'll get the real story. Because, of course, there are all sorts of people coming out and going, it's not really a, quote, fractured larynx. It's whatever it is. I mean, it's just
bad attitude.
It's a bad attitude. There's no, he's got several lawsuits going on that are pretty dicey, to say the very least. The band this is a man in his mid-70s. I mean, honest to God, I don't begrudge Steven Tyler for getting 3 songs into that tour and going, what the hell was I thinking? Yeah. But we'll see. And the whole point is we're going to find out here pretty soon. We'll find out if that's happening. And then to Candace's point, if Kiss's final show, which is this weekend, right? December 2nd or 3rd in New York, we'll see if they can make it to the holidays before they say makeup-free acoustic performance, or we're going to go out and do a polka version of the songs. There's going to be some way. Oktoberfest is only 10 months away. We're getting ready to polka-size Kiss. They'll come up with something. You know they will.
Oh, they always do. I mean, they do that better than coming up with songs, marketing ideas.
Well, sure. They were always, it's like people say McDonald's isn't a burger company; it's a real estate company. Kiss isn't a band; they're a marketing coalition. They just happen to have some songs along the way. Let's look back. Oh, sorry, Zepp, I cut you off. What's that?
No, I was stomping all over you. I'm mumbling here in the background this morning. It's definitely a Monday for me. I just said, and they unapologetically talk about Kiss in those terms. But yeah.
And by the way, that's why you can't. I mean, there are so many bands. I can think of one off the top of my head who talk a lot of game about artistic integrity, blah, blah, blah. When I say I can think of one off the top of my head, I mean I can think of about 100. I give Paul and Gene eternal credit for being like, what are you talking about? We're trying to be the richest guys that ever lived. It's real simple.
Yeah.
Make it nice and easy. Let's look back. November 27th, 1971, a pretty famous play in college football history. It was called the Gator Flop. Also referred to as the Florida Flop. Same story, regardless of what you want to call it. Long story short, the Florida Gators are playing the Miami Hurricanes. The Gators are winning 45-8, and Miami has the ball in the red zone with about a minute on the clock, and they're about to score. Maybe, or at least they're going to run the clock out. And Florida wanted the ball back, even though they had a 40-point lead. They wanted the ball back. Why? Because their quarterback, John Reeves, was only 14 yards short of the NCAA record for career yardage. So the Hurricanes, standing over the ball in the red zone, about to run a play, are shocked when the ball is snapped and all 11 Gator defenders lay down on the field. Literally, they just flopped as if every one of them had been hit with a tranquilizer dart. The quarterback for Miami runs the ball in, like looking around going, what the hell's happening? Then, of course, they kick off. Florida gets the ball back. Their quarterback then throws a pass for 15 yards that puts him on the all-time. He puts him at number 1 on the all-time list for yards in a career. Miami's coach, Fran Kersey, was freaking out and had to be restrained from attacking his counterpart on the Florida sideline. He was talking about, it's a pure lack of class, a total disgrace, the worst thing I've ever seen in college football. I have lost all respect for Florida coach Doug Dickey as a coach and as a man.
Wow. All's love and
yes, sir.
Rivalries. Is that would have been funny if the I'm trying to think of which team it was. It was a Florida State that was running it in. Anyway, or Miami rather.
Miami
just had the presence of mind to just run up to the 1 yard line while all the other players were laying around on the ground and just stood there nearly till the clock, and at 1 second stepped over the line. But
that would have been great.
If they could go back and do it again,
If they'd known why they were all doing the flop, that really would have been fantastic. Speaking of which, speaking of people flopping and dying, did anyone see the end of the Alabama-Auburn game on Saturday night?
I saw the highlights,
the Iron Bowl. I mean, man, those Auburn fans, huge underdogs, like two touchdown underdogs, got the lead at home, and on the final play for Alabama, 4th and long, miracle touchdown catch to to beat the Crimson. For the Crimson Tide to win. It was just one of those, little brother was going to get over on Big Brother like he does every 4 or 5 years, and then Big Brother was like, actually, no, I'm going to rip your balls off. Here you go. I got a lot of friends that went to Auburn, and let me tell you something. I, like Spock, when that planet exploded, I was sitting on my couch and I felt all of their pain all at once. Oh, nothing worse on earth.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.